Viewers, the U.S. State Department is continuing its diplomatic pressure on the Ethiopian government. Information reaching us now indicates that the U.S. government has ordered all its non-essential staff to leave Addis Ababa immediately. Quickly and in following suit, the Italian government as well as the Danish government have also ordered all their staff who are non-essential to leave Addis Ababa before what they are calling the final onslaught by the TPLF. In fact, the three countries indicate that they would want their citizens to leave Addis Ababa before the end of commercial flight is announced. What does this mean, viewers? We've said in the past that it appears that the United States, especially the State Department, is pushing for something akin to a political coup in Ethiopia. And consequently, they have really been on the diplomatic offensive and psychological warfare against Ethiopians who love their government. And it is obvious that they are doing this at the behest of the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front. We can see and clearly note that the extreme pressure that the State Department is putting on the Ethiopian government, as well as the Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy, is obviously about a regime change. In fact, what the State Department is pushing for is a non-constitutional coup in Addis Ababa. They've been talking to presidents of state governments, that's the regional states of Ethiopia, and urging them to withdraw their support from the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia's government, as well as the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This obviously tells you that the U.S. State Department is interested in nothing more than a regime change in Addis Ababa. At the same time, we have seen in the recent past that a number of movements which are based in the U.S. have been collected and put together by the U.S. State Department with the aim of forcing political changes in Ethiopia. These movements, particularly the Afar Revolutionary Democratic Front, Unity Front, Agao Democratic Movement, Benshagul People's Liberation Movement, Gabela People's Liberation Army, the Global Kimand People's Rights and Justice Movement, and the Kimand Democratic Party, the Oromo Liberation Front, that is the Oromo Liberation Army, which is in opposition because the other section of the OLF is part of government. The Sidama National Liberation Front, very interesting because Sidama National Liberation Front was fighting for Sidama to be declared a regional state in Ethiopia, which has now happened. So it is funny that they are now part of a movement to destabilize Ethiopia. The Somali State Resistance, very interesting. Those are very small and new groups. And the Tigray, of course, the Tigray People's Liberation Front. This obviously tells you that the U.S. government is trying to do what it did to Ethiopia in 1990 and 1991. It was supporting the TPLF then, and was giving logistical equipment, communications, and field operations combat support to the TPLF way back in 1991. And the U.S. has had a run in Ethiopia between 1991 to 2018 when the government changed hands and the current government moved towards the east and embraced China and the Turkish assistance in terms of infrastructural development. Now, it appears that the U.S. is keen to get back into Ethiopia, and doesn't matter how many Ethiopians are going to die, how much human suffering is going to happen, as long as the U.S. can have their way. So it is quite obvious that what the things happening in Ethiopia right now are being dictated from Washington with the sole aim of forcing a regime change violently. Not through constitutional means, violently. And at the same time, you have the same U.S. government clearly indicating that the Ethiopian government is guilty of blocking humanitarian aid and committing atrocities against the population. Actually, it would appear that it is the U.S. and its Western allies who are pushing the Tigray to engage in atrocities and commit war crimes. And with the full complicity of these states, because it is very interesting that you have a rebel movement that seems to be getting a more diplomatic proximity to the most powerful country in the world than the government of the country where that rebel movement is operating. This state of affairs shows the kind of contempt that the people and the leaders of the Democratic Party in the US have against Africa. These are the same people who abandoned Rwanda in 1994 and allowed a genocide to happen in that country. Ethiopians must be careful, because it would appear that the US has no problem supporting and facilitating another mass genocide and killing of human beings in Ethiopia to get their way. Thank you.